Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Stella is arrested, Rick learns his fate, and Nina is the latest to publicly threaten Drew's life. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. It's a new day, and Alexis has gone for a walk. At the Davis home, Molly confronts Christina about what she did to her father, but of course, she's speaking of hiring Cody to break Rick and Ava up. Sonny arrives, interrupting their conversation, and has come to see Molly. He asks about the parameters of the acting DA's jurisdiction and how it impacts him, Laura, and Measure C. Molly lets Sonny know Justine has a lot of power with Robert gone, but she's fair and isn't someone to falsify evidence or play dirty. She even says Justine could have used Drew and Michael's recent legal issue against him had she wanted to, but didn't. Christina brings up Drew serving them all with papers prohibiting them from seeing Scout. Sonny knows Alexis must be devastated at being cut off from her granddaughter. What's the plan for Rick? In the shed's basement, Alexis takes the gag out of Rick's mouth, and he begs her to get him out of here. He assumes Ava conked him over the head and promises she'll never have to deal with the two of them again. Alexis tells him that it doesn't work for her, and Rick realizes she's in on this. Rick promises that if she lets him go, he won't charge her or Christina with any crimes. Alexis decides to take her chances with Ava. Alexis explains their plan. They will wait for his bonds to mature, put all the money back where it came from, and Ava will give her the evidence against Christina. Then, they'll let him go. He realizes none of them can go to the police, as they all have dirt against each other. Alexis gets a text from Christina and has to go, and puts the ball gag back in. She laughs as she informs him, "Can you believe Ava had this in her glove compartment?" Sonny gives Alexis some hope. Alexis heads back to the house, and Molly heads off to work. Christina also departs. Sonny then speaks with Alexis about Drew and that, eventually, someone is going to take him down, as he has made too many enemies recently. It's just a matter of time before he gets what he deserves. The audience is counting on it. Christina heads down to see Rick and gloats that, sadly, nobody will miss him for the next month, except Molly, but they'll explain his absence to her. She wonders now that he's been on the other end of Ava's wrath. Does he really think Ava didn't cause her fall, which cost her and Molly to lose their child? She walks out. At the hospital, Curtis checks in with Portia and fills her in on Drew being the one to send the agents against her. Portia cries that this means Drew will come after her next. In the halls, Isaiah speaks with Stella about her problems. Stella assures him she's done nothing wrong, and the person trying to cause trouble for her won't succeed. Lucas is back from Massachusetts and catches up with Liz when Ava says she needs a moment of his time. They take a walk, and Ava explains she's out of sleeping meds, and her doctor can't prescribe any more until she sees them next. He offers to write her a script, but jokes that this might tire her out for Rick. Ava admits they split up. Lucas heads back to Liz and spills the tea that Ava and Rick are donezo. He warns her that this means the lawyer likely will be hanging around here more, so be on her guard. Before he heads off on rounds, she asks if he has had any more trouble with Willow. He hasn't, and if Willow wants to ruin her life over Drew, the more power to her. Later, the two fraud agents are back and inform Stella, who is assisting someone, that her employment has been suspended. Back in Portia's office, Curtis snaps that he can't worry about Portia now, as he has to focus on Stella, who is in the mess because of. Portia knows it's her fault. Suddenly, Isaiah interrupts and says the agents are here, causing problems for Stella. Portia goes to speak to the investigators, and Curtis calls for help. Willow meets Drew at the Port Charles Grill and admits she needs strong allies to help her get her kids back. She has Liz and Rick, and hopefully him. Willow explains her big blow-up with Christina and that she needs someone from Michael's family to vouch for her. Drew promises that if she lets him, he'll get her kids back. Nina appears and asks Willow what in God's name she's doing with Drew. She tells her she can't be seen with this man in public, unless she wants to lose her kids for good. Nina sits down to try to talk sense into her, but Willow snaps that right now she has no power and needs someone like Drew's help. Nina reminds her that nothing this man has done to help her has ever panned out. Nina begs her daughter to walk out of here with her right now. Willow refuses and blames her for costing her children. She informs her that Drew told her that he wanted to come clean about their affair, but she wouldn't allow it. Nina says that is a bold-faced lie. True or not, Willow says Nina kept her mouth shut and let her be blindsided on her wedding day. She says Drew is the only one powerful enough to beat Michael. She tells Drew that if he gets her kids back, she'll come back to him, but only if he keeps her promise. She then walks out. At church, Gio finds Marco lighting a candle, which he explains is for his mother. Gio says that's why he's here, as it's his mother's birthday. They introduce themselves, and Gio realizes Natalia was Marco's mom. Gio admits that for a while, people accused his grandfather, Sonny, of having something to do with her death. Gio insists he wasn't involved. Marco says the autopsy showed no signs of foul play. He says it was nice meeting him and heads out. Brooke Lynn then walks in with flowers and didn't know Gio would be here. She came to leave the flowers for Camilla and light a candle. She offers to go, but he says she can stay, as today is about his mom. Brooke Lynn raves about how talented Camilla was with the violin. Gio always thought he inherited his talent from her. Brooke Lynn says he did, and he is who he is because Camilla raised him. The ice begins to thaw between them. They sit in a pew, and Gio talks about his mom and how it's hard knowing she was keeping this big secret from him. Brooke Lynn feels she was keeping Lois and Gloria's secret for them, and Camilla loved him with her whole heart. She cries that when she gave him up, she prayed he would go to a good, loving family. Camilla was the answer to her prayers. Brooke Lynn says she's taken up enough of his time, so take care, and she leaves. Gio watches her walk out and seems to be softening. At Windmere, Lucy vents to Sidwell and Jordan that Erica Kane is spreading information that their products cause people to pass out, and she fears deception could go out of business. Lucy steps out for air, and Jordan gets a call from Curtis about Stella. She says she'll be right there. At the hospital, Portia and Curtis stand with Stella against the agents. Curtis says he tried to call Alexis but couldn't reach her, but reinforcements are on the way. It may be too late, as the agents then inform Stella she's under arrest. Had barely risen over Port Charles when chaos struck the Ashford family once again. Stella Henry, the calm, steadfast voice of reason for years, suddenly found herself in the kind of scandal she often warned others against. It began at the police station. Jordan Ashford, still grappling with her conflicted role as both mother and law enforcer, was blindsided when detectives returned with Stella in handcuffs. The charge: obstruction of justice. Apparently, Stella had quietly intercepted evidence months ago that could have exonerated Curtis from part of the Metro Court shooting investigation. The documents, tied to a money trail implicating someone else entirely, were hidden away in Stella's lockbox. A lockbox that Trina accidentally discovered when she was searching for family records. "Stella Henry, you are under arrest," the officer intoned. Jordan froze as her aunt, normally the one to hold the family together, was read her rights. "Jordan," Stella said firmly, locking eyes with her niece, "don't you dare try to cover for me. This was my choice. My burden." But Jordan's silence spoke volumes. For once, she didn't know whether to protect her family or the badge. Across town at the courthouse, Rick Lansing stood at the mercy of the judge. For weeks, Rick had clung to the hope that his carefully spun web of half-truths and legal maneuvering would keep him out of prison. But as the evidence piled up, financial fraud, witness tampering, and most damning of all, his covert ties to Brennan's cartel, the walls closed in. "Mr. Lansing," the judge declared, "you've manipulated this court long enough. Today, you will finally face the consequences of your actions." Elizabeth Weber sat quietly in the gallery, her eyes fixed on the man who had once been her husband. She had wanted to believe that Rick could change, but his endless schemes had dragged too many lives into danger. Beside her, Finn leaned in and whispered, "He won't walk away from this one." Rick smirked as though he still had one more trick up his sleeve, but even Alexis Davis, his longtime rival and occasional reluctant defender, looked relieved when the gavel came down. "Rick Lansing," the judge said, "you are hereby sentenced to 15 years in Pentonville." Gasps echoed through the room. Rick's face faltered for the first time, his confident mask shattering as the reality of his fate set in. 15 years, he repeated, stunned. His eyes darted to Elizabeth as though expecting her to intervene. She didn't. She simply looked away, her silence a final goodbye. While Stella sat in lockup and Rick absorbed his new reality, the tension in Port Charles only worsened thanks to Nina Reeves. Nina had always been volatile when cornered, but lately, her desperation had spiraled into something darker. Drew Kane had become her new obsession, an enemy she couldn't shake. From Crimson to the Metro Court, Drew seemed to appear everywhere, constantly reminding Nina of her failures. And now, with the SEC scandal still haunting her and Willow pulling further away, Nina's nerves frayed past the breaking point. At Charlie's pub, she spotted Drew meeting with Sam, Alexis, and Dante. Nina's jealousy burned as she realized how seamlessly Drew fit into their world, while she remained an outsider. She stormed over, voice sharp and eyes flashing. "You think you're untouchable, don't you, Drew?" Sam stood up immediately, her protective instincts flaring. "Nina, this isn't the time." "Oh, I think it is," Nina spat back. "Everyone's so worried about what I might do, but no one seems to be worried about what Drew Kane is doing to this town. He's pulling the strings, controlling the narrative, acting like some hero when he's just as corrupt as the rest of them." Dante interjected. "Nina, lower your voice. You're making a scene." But Nina was past the point of caring. Her voice rose, carrying across the bar. "I swear, if Drew doesn't stop meddling in my life, I'll make sure he doesn't have a life left to meddle with." The entire pub went silent. Glasses froze mid-air. Even Olivia, watching from behind the bar, dropped her rag in shock.